Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with All Things Barbecue, and today we're going to be tackling one of the requests that we've been seeing in the comments section. This is Filipino barbecue pork. All right, let me kick off this recipe by saying that I don't have a Filipino grandma that taught me how to make this food, but I have done a fair amount of research, and I've found that there's some variations here and there, but there's a couple core items that you see in all of these Filipino barbecue recipes. For example, that banana ketchup or banana sauce and soy sauce. And some of these items you'll probably have to run to the Asian market to pick up, but some of them you can find anywhere, starting off with the Boston butt pork shoulder. So I'm gonna start by slicing up our pork butt. I'm gonna slice it fairly thin, and I've seen this done a number of ways. Some people like to cube it up. I'm gonna slice this into strips so that I can kind of thread them onto our skewers later. And also these nice thin strips, they'll take on that marinade quicker. So that gives us about 2 pounds of that sliced pork butt. I'm gonna put it in the marinating bin, and we'll set that aside while we make the marinade. We'll start this marinade off with 1 cup of soy sauce. And we're using a reduced sodium soy sauce. Next, we're gonna need 1 cup of banana sauce, or banana ketchup it's sometimes called. Oh, you gotta get just the right jiggle. Next, we have a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And here's a 1/2 cup of calamansi juice. I've heard of this stuff referred to as the Philippine lemon or the Philippine lime, and if you don't get a hold of this, you can always use just regular lime juice. And then we have a 1/2 cup of ginger ale or ginger beer. Now I know some folks leave the ginger beer out completely. Some folks put Sprite or even 7-Up in there, but if you can find a nice potent ginger beer, it adds a really good ginger zing to the whole thing. I also want to get about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic in there. And the last thing I'm gonna add is just some fresh cracked black pepper. All right, so we give this a whisk, get everything incorporated. And you'll notice that we're not adding any additional salt to this because that soy sauce should be salty enough. I'm gonna give this a taste and just make sure it's spot on. Oh man, that is so good. Hey, before I add this to the pork though, I'm gonna set a little bit aside because I also wanna baste the pork while it's grilling later, and I don't wanna use the stuff that had raw pork in it. Perfect amount, just enough to cover. So make sure that you choose your container wisely. Get all that goodness mixed around in there. All right, I'm gonna go wash up. We'll seal this thing off, and then I've got something special I wanna show you guys. Pork is in the fridge for the next 4 hours now, and while we probably could have just stopped at pork and done these skewers and this barbecue pork recipe, I wanted to add a little something extra. I wanted to share with you guys this really fantastic Filipino condiment called Achara. And basically what this is pickled green papaya. And there's any number of other things that you could put in there. I've seen people put raisins, onions, shallots, there's all kinds of stuff. But let's just jump into it and I'll show you how we're gonna make our achara today. We're gonna start off with this green papaya. It's nice and firm. And we'll go ahead and get rid of all of these seeds out of here, as well as peel the skin off. And once we get that skin off and the seeds out, I'm gonna run this through the box grater until we get to about 2 cups. We're gonna take this papaya and place it in some cheesecloth here. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little salt over it to help draw out the moisture. We get about a teaspoon of this smoked salt in here. All right, so we'll let this sit and work for a little bit while we prepare the rest of the ingredients. Now we're gonna do the same thing with some carrot. And we'll call that about a half cup. Next up we have some jicama. We're gonna treat it the same way, peel it, run it through the grater. It's gonna add some really great texture to this condiment. And again, about a half a cup. So that jicama, as well as the green papaya, they're kind of a blank slate. They really just ready to soak up flavor. That's part of the reason that we're gonna get some of that moisture out of the papaya so that it can soak up all the moisture from the brine that we're gonna put it in. Now, from here, what we can do is start to figure out how we wanna flavor this. And typically that's gonna come in the form of ginger and garlic and those sorts of aromatics. So we're gonna take a pretty good hunk of ginger here. Next, I'm gonna slice up 3 cloves of garlic. Now this 3rd cup of ginger that we've grated, as well as our garlic, is gonna go into a pot to be mixed into our brine. We'll also add 1 cup of water and 2 cups of rice vinegar. Also need a half cup of sugar. All right, so we're gonna get this thing on the heat, warm this up to dissolve this sugar, and start to infuse that garlic and ginger into the brining liquid. There's one more thing that I wanna add to that. We're gonna have to run out to the garden to get it. Now this is totally optional, but if you wanna add a little extra heat, a Thai chili will do the trick. And I just wanna split this thing open so it can release some of its oils. I'm also gonna dice up a bell pepper to add. And I'll just go with some really nice fine strips. And we're gonna look to have about a 1/4 cup of that bell pepper. Next up, we have some red onion. And I'm just gonna attempt to mirror that same shape from the bell pepper. Again, about a 1/4 cup. All right, now let's go ahead and get our papaya squeezed. Try to get out some of that excess liquid. And this stuff is just gonna be primed to soak up that brine flavor now. I just give this about 5 minutes to simmer. We'll shut the heat off and let it cool down a bit. All right, so we give this a good mix, and we're gonna stuff it into our mason jars. Now we're just gonna pour this brine into the jars. Oh, that color alone, just amazing. But when we get this sweet and tangy brine in here, flavor's gonna kill it. I'm gonna make sure to spoon on some of that garlic and ginger. All right, these are ready to go into the fridge. And tomorrow, flavor's gonna be fantastic. Pork's gone its full 4 hours, so it's time to pull it out of the marinade and get it onto some skewers. All right, so we're using some metal skewers today. but you can use bamboo ones as well, although I would recommend trying to find some flat ones that won't rotate when you flip these on the grill. And we're just gonna thread these on here like this. So we get plenty of surface area on the grill and they won't turn on us. But today we're going to be grilling on a Yoder Smoker's flat top charcoal grill. We've got a blazing hot direct area and an indirect area where we can move the meat to finish cooking. Now starting off, we're going to leave the lid open, and that's because we don't want to trap too much heat and cook these too fast. What I'm trying to do first is get the right color on the meat. I'll flip it over, get the right color on the other side, and then we can move it off to the side and it'll finish cooking indirect. So check that out, really nice browning on there. Flip this one over and get the other side. I'll use a little more on this one. That looks really good. A really great way to figure out if this is ready to flip or not, still sticking just a little bit, but once it's ready, it completely releases by itself. So this one, really beautiful color all the way around. We can move this to indirect heat now. And once I get these moved to indirect heat, I'm gonna go ahead and baste them with that marinade that we reserved. And this is just gonna fortify those flavors that we put into the marinade. Now we've got the color where we want it, we've got to move to indirect, and we've got the first side basted. At this point, I want to close the door, let it do some indirect cooking, and that baste is kind of going to tack up on there. But we need to continue to break down the stuff that's inside this meat, the stuff that makes it tough, because it's still going to be tough for a little bit. So we're going to shut the door, let it do its work. We've given these about 10 minutes cooking indirect. We're going to flip them over now and baste the other side. And that half cup that we reserved is going to be just perfect for what we need for basting. Now we've given these another 10 to 15 minutes and they're feeling pretty tender. The baste is really set up on there. The color is awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about how to check for doneness, because if you're cooking on a grill like this, you're not necessarily setting your temperature to a certain number, and that means it could take a varying amount of time. Now, if you want to set, say, your YS640 pellet grill at 400 degrees, that's a great indirect temperature for that. But in this case, we're not exactly sure where our temperature was, so we're just waiting until this looks tender. And we can test that just by pulling on it. See how it actually pulls apart? Now this isn't fall apart temperature. You know, obviously it's not in the 200s. It's not super tough either, so you're looking at something beyond 170, but I wouldn't even bother using a thermometer in this case. It's the feel that's gonna let you know when it's done. There's that beautiful bright Achara. Let's have a taste of this before we get into our pork. Oh. It's sweet, just a little bit sour, and just a touch of heat. But man, the way that jicama and the papaya really just soaks up all those flavors is amazing. That's gonna be great with our pork. Oh, that's fantastic together. I love the smokiness and the sweetness coming off that pork. And you know, it's really important that you remember to reserve that marinade early on, because that basting at the end just pops so much flavor on there. You do not want to miss out on that. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. And like I said earlier, I've seen all kinds of variations of these recipes, both with the pork and the achara. And I would love to hear from you guys, especially if you've got some family recipes that you want to pass down, or let us know what you're doing at home. Big shout out to Pete and Pete. He's been bugging us for a long time to do some Filipino barbecue, so this one goes out to you. As for the rest of you, be sure to smash that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or you want to suggest something for us to cook, go ahead and do that down in the comment section. And hey, let's be good to each other. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to thesauce.atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.